And we're back with the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here for the Lakers Fast Break. Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. Upcoming for this weekend, if you're not checking it out already, we're going to cover the state of pro wrestling with me and John Orlando. Also, as well, don't forget our most recent podcast where Josh and I and TJ and I, both on a recent podcast, talk about what's going on in the world pop culture right there at the Pop Culture Cosmos. Joe Soro is live right now on playback as he and Vari, aka Sports Baby, they have on the Dodgers game. So you want to check out the Dodgers game, they're on right now, playback.tv/Joe Soro Experiment. So go ahead and check out what they're doing there. Blue Magic back in the house. Thank you so much for joining us. We were on live for the draft at playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. We had a nice crowd that was on stage. Shout out to Tuff. Shout out to Nick. Shout out to Mark, Vari, Sean, and Joe too. We were all up there and watching everybody else make picks except for the Lakers. So yes, hopefully tomorrow's second round of the NBA draft will be more exciting. So if you want to catch it with us, I'll have it up for you guys on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break tomorrow as well. Osmosis, how best to say it? It was a very uneventful 2 hours plus. Well, actually 3 hours and 3.5 hours plus. The Lakers did absolutely zero, which we will discuss on today's show. Are you guys upset out there as far as Rob Pelinka doing nothing? I want to hear your thoughts on that. Hopefully, Sean, he said he was going to join me here in a couple minutes. I sent the email out with the link, so go ahead and hopefully he will join us. And if you guys are out there, share your thoughts. Rob Pelinka and the Los Angeles Lakers did nothing in the first round of the draft. Phoenix, Utah, Brooklyn, Memphis, Washington, all were very active during the course of the first round. But the team you did not hear once during the entire first round was the Los Angeles Lakers. So we still have the same flaws and same problems on our roster. So if you want to go ahead and vent your frustration like some of us did already on the show, on the playback, please let us know right there in the chat. Love to hear your thoughts on that. Do you approve of what Rob didn't do tonight or in the days leading up to tonight? Not doing any trades, not making any moves, not doing anything to go ahead and improve the roster yet. So are you guys happy about that? Let us know in the comments below. As Moses says, the Mark Williams trade, LOL. Yes, Mark Williams finally looks like he's going to get traded, although, again, subject to a physical. We'll see what happens there. But yes, he was traded to Phoenix right as they were drafting Kaman Malawak, a player similar in nature as far as a rim runner. Both guys are about well above 7 feet, 7'6". So you got two of the same player within the span of 2 minutes of each other. And you've already traded once and gotten a Nick Richards, who was the backup on Charlotte last year. So you got two Charlotte centers and drafted a third center that plays similar to the center that you just traded for. So good luck, Phoenix. You've got 15 shooting guards and you got 5 centers now on your team. That's awesome. Great going. Coabina said, why didn't Rob try to get Kaman Malawak? Your guess is as good as mine. Again, I thought in the days, especially when he was, starting to trend up into 10, 11. I know he got picked at number 10. I really thought Austin could go for a package of a first-round pick and a player. I thought that at least that Austin could get you that in return, and it didn't get done. It just simply didn't get done. Whether he was trying or not, I don't know for sure. But yeah, just really, really disappointing. for us as Lakers fans that Rob is really, as of yet, not making great strides into improving this roster. With the limited assets that you have, why you're not making a bigger effort in making this team better is beyond me, especially with Luka, because that clock is ticking. That clock is ticking right now on the fact that you have a wide open NBA. I do not think Oklahoma City is a dominant team in this NBA right now. They have a very good team for many years to come. I'm not going to dissuade you, just say otherwise. But as we saw, they barely got by Indiana. They barely got by Denver. They are a beatable team. And if you are Rob Pelinka, you should do everything in your power to go ahead and make yourself better for the playoffs by providing Luka with the best options possible. And Austin Reeves, we've talked about this before, you guys. I just don't think he's great during the regular season. Great regular season player. But we've seen for 3 seasons in a row, he has his limitations, and if he's not coming off the bench for you guys, if he's starting for you guys, that could be a problem. Yeah, Pastor, I know they did the talk at the beginning of the season, how they'd love to keep Austin. I understand Austin himself said he'd love to stay a Laker, but as you and I know, we've heard and said all this stuff as a smokescreen before. So again, common sense is there. You need to make a move, and you need to make a move now, and he is your best asset, and he may become a free agent next year, and you may lose him for nothing. So again, all that stuff on the board, nothing got done. Rui didn't get traded. They still have all those expiring contracts that they have. So very disappointing of the Lakers and what they didn't do. I want to hear your thoughts, guys, out there on it as far as what they didn't do. Now that Portland has like 20 centers on their team as well, is DeAndre Ayton or Robert Williams heading to the Lakers? We'll find out. We'll wait and see. But it is Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching this. We truly appreciate you joining us. Great to have you guys here. I want to hear your frustrations out there. We've got a nice crowd that's coming in. Truly appreciate you joining us. And again, I'm hoping to get Sean. I know John said he was out, wasn't going to be able to make it. Joe is watching the Dodgers, but he said he may still stop by. I'm hoping he'll still stop by. But Sean said he was going to hop in here in a second. But again, I want to hear your frustrations. Are you frustrated, or are you cool with what Rob didn't do this year? Blue said, how did Yank Hansen go so high? You are correct, Blue. He was never, leading up to it. Actually, maybe in the months leading up to it, he may have been on the back end of the first round for a couple of these draft boards, these draft sites. But by the time that the mock drafts were made, the final mock drafts were made, Yang Hansen was not in any first round mock draft that I saw. Not one leading up to this draft in the past week. And yet somehow he goes that high. And again, it went to a team. He went to a team, Magic Man, and great to have you here, by the way. Thank you again for all the stuff that you did during our playback. He went, Yang Hansen, to a team that had 5 first-round draft picks. They could have got them at any time if they wanted them with 26, 27, 21, or was it 21 or 22 that they had the one for? Yeah. They could have had it any time. They chose second. Absolutely just, I don't know. It's head-scratching. And Stone Hansen has been all over Twitter, at report_court. He has been all over Twitter criticizing the Brooklyn Nets for a lot of other things as well. But Magic Man, let me know your thoughts on this, because I'm reaching out to everybody out there. I want to hear your thoughts out there. I want to hear your thoughts, Sean. Did Rob make a mistake by doing nothing in the days leading up to today? Deciding to take the day off.
Joe, first of all, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. You're good.
All right. Sounds good. I can't. I'm not in a position to defend Rob Pelinka. I don't want to defend Rob Pelinka, but I'm gonna have to defend Rob Pelinka here.
Oh my gosh.
I don't want to do this, but damn it, everyone deserves a defense, right, Nick? So here's Palinka's. Well, his days are numbered, and I applaud that. The fact of the matter is, Gerald, I was like many others, I would say fairly surprised to shocked at I would say about 60% of what I saw tonight. And Hanson has to be at the top of the list,
Yes, he has to be.
without a doubt. Um, like Gerald said, you could take him with pick 27 that you have there, and maybe that doesn't justify it either, Gerald. But you picked him at the end of the first round. It's close to the second, so maybe you convince people. We threw a flyer, but you take him in the middle of the first round. I have to question Sean Marks here, Gerald. You take Hanson and Wolf.
Yeah.
And plus you're likely gonna have to bring back one of Deron Sharp or Claxton. So I mean the Nets potentially have 4 or 5 centers on their roster, Gerald.
This is crazy. I think they will probably move one of those guys. I think Claxton's days are numbered personally because Daron Sharp is the cheaper of the options. Plus, they could only need to sign him on a 1 year, just keep it going for one more year, and then maybe either move him or try to see what you can do to free up that money in the summer because Brooklyn will have a ton of cash this summer. But if they're smart, they're also going to still have a lot of cash next summer. Washington, I'm not going to be so hard on because it's simply the fact that Washington, anything that they're doing is eyeing themselves towards next summer, where they'll have about 100 or million or more available to them on the cap as far as is concerned. So that they're making some smart moves. Yes, it looks bad now, guys, with Washington, but they are making some smart moves now that is going to free up some from money later. I just don't know what's going on in Portland either. Between them, Phoenix getting like 5 centers today. I'm joking, but they now have they drafted a player and within seconds traded for a player that's exactly like the player that they drafted. So I don't get that. First off, and then Portland gets old Drew on his contract. Yeah. Oh, you're on mute, by the way. I'll unmute you. I got you. Go for it. So yeah, just absolutely, Sean. Some of these NBA GMs, I have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, Gerald, I agree. All due respect. I think the two biggest surprises in this draft was, for me, number one is Kasparos dropping to number 20, and the Godfather is right there to take him off everybody's hands. For whatever reason, I don't understand this move, but you just solved Pat Riley's problems for him, NBA community.
Absolutely.
I just want to let you guys know that the Miami Heat were laughable at points at the end of last season. They're not anymore because you just handed the Godfather Kasparos on a golden platter.
The number 4 on the board for Stone Hansen. That's how high he was. So we talked about there's always that one player that's predicted to be a lottery pick or high lottery pick that drops. Today it was Kasparos Shukonis, and I'll tell you what, Riley May got a steal, like you said.
Yeah, Gerald. I think I don't understand this, Gerald. I didn't hear anything negative about him out of Illinois. Not from his coaches, not from his teammates, not from any media around there. This baffles me. It really does, because like Gerald was saying, you're the Portland Trailblazers. You just traded one of your best scorers, so you need to aggregate that back in the lineup somehow. And like Gerald was saying, Kasparos was sitting there. You have a number of other players who are ready-made to score in the NBA, and Portland Trailblazers decide to swing and miss big time here, Gerald. I mean, and it's the same teams over and over again. Like Gerald was saying, I'm willing to give Washington the benefit of the doubt. They look like they're structured and they have an idea of what they want to do.
Yeah, they
But
have a definite plan going forward, Sean.
yeah, New Orleans, Charlotte, Portland, the same teams you see in the lottery, Gerald, we're going to see them again in the lottery next year, Gerald, because of moves like Phoenix, because of moves just like this. They keep switching places, but all these teams are at the same table at the lottery.
Yeah,
it's like it is, man. It's like Alice in Wonderland with these teams in the lottery. Switch places. Oh, Phoenix picked 6. Portland picks 9th. Though this year, Charlotte picks 3rd. New Orleans picks 1st. It's unreal.
One of also the teams that also got a lot of notable play was the Utah Jazz. I want to hear your thoughts on that. First off, I want to hear your thoughts on Ace Bailey not working out. Obviously, putting off some teams as far as what happened and how he treated them, as far as not doing workouts with them. Which seemingly, according to rumors that you hear and the stuff that you hear and the insights that you hear, is that that's what they wanted all along. They wanted to go to Washington, where they could be where Ace thinks he could be the best player there. He's now going to Utah, where whether or not you believe in Lauri Markkanen or not, the original, Lauri Markkanen will still be, however you think he is now, he will still be the best player there. So it kind of backfired against him. But your thoughts, getting Walter Clayton Jr. and Ace Bailey, maybe in a backhanded way, it still may work out for Utah, but it's really hard to figure out what the Angels are really doing. Sean, got you there? Are you on mute? I got you on mute. Okay.
Thanks, Gerald. Yeah, I was going to answer the second one first. Yeah, it's kind of confounding what Utah's doing here. I mean, we were talking about this during playback. It's almost as if if in the universe of the Jazz, you have a great young head coach, and then you have a semblance of great young players, but yet you end up only winning about 28 games. All these different planets and circumstances are converging on each other, and it looks disjointed and jumbled, Gerald. That's the best way to describe what's going on in Utah. They don't have a true point guard. They've got right now your 2 point guards would be Jordan Clarkson and Colin Sexton, and I don't consider either one of those a true point guard, Gerald. Neither would you. So you don't have a true point guard on this roster. You have a nice group of other guards. Your true point guard at this point would be Walter, Gerald, but Walter is more of a shooting point guard, off ball. He's not really.
I still like the pick, though. I still like.
I do.
Pick. Yeah,
I do too. It's sneaky. He needs to develop more of a facilitation game, Gerald. He's like a secondary good facilitator. If primary isn't there, but yeah, he needs to work on it. But yeah, I like that pick too. As far as Bailey is concerned, I mean, first of all, Gerald, unless you're the consensus number 1 pick, I don't think you got the resident onions to walk into any franchise's office and tell them that you need to pick me with a verbal commitment or I'm not going to work out with you. I think that takes a lot of balls, but I also think it takes a lot of immaturity and not understanding what the market is right now, because you haven't worked out for anybody. If you worked out for a handful of teams and they saw what you could do, that would be a different scenario. But since you haven't worked out for anybody, I don't know what I'm investing in. I'm not investing in a mystery box, Gerald. You wouldn't either. We're not investing money in a mystery box. But Utah has, because they didn't see him work out. They don't know what they're getting. And you're right, Gerald, and other people are right that it could turn out that, Ace Bailey decides that he likes okay, so first of all, The physical beauty of Utah is marvelous, Gerald. It's one of the most beautiful places in the United States, hands down, hands down. There's no argument there. But a young man does not want to spend most of his time off in dry counties.
Yep, that's true. But I want to go ahead and say this to answer Parade on Figueroa's question on Twitch. Walter Clayton Jr. I think is really solid. They get experience. The guy has championship pedigree coming into the NBA. I think he could be a really solid veteran. I think he'd be the guy that is going to be a good voice out there for the team. Someone who I think will pick things up really quickly and could actually be a pretty good player in this league, Parade. I think that was a good one. You also wanted to ask your thoughts on Derek Queen. I think he's talented and skilled, but I was concerned because he admitted to teams at the Chicago Combine he was literally not in good shape at all. He gave himself, I think, a 6 or a 7 as far as on a scale of 1 to 10 on his physical readiness at that time. And I'm thinking to myself, when you're going to the NBA Combine, this is the evaluation upon all the evaluations. You have to be at your peak readiness and take it seriously. So I worry about that as far as a maturity level. Again, we're talking about 19, 20-year-old kids, so maturity level is going to be always there as far as an issue is concerned. But Derek Queen, I'm not going to question his talent. Whether or not he's going to be a true big for you, the team that he got drafted by, 6'10", 6'10 and a half. He may be a small ball center for a lot of teams, but we'll have to wait and see how that works out. Your thoughts on Derek Queen? Again, I think he's talented. I think he's good. I think he'll be solid. I don't see something that just pops out for me, though, with Derek Queen, Sean.
No, Gerald, there isn't. Yeah. There isn't. There isn't anything that pops out. However,
for New Orleans, by the way, he was traded to New Orleans. Yes.
However, he has an NBA-ready body right now. So he can play right away, Gerald. He's got the physical body to play right now. I also like his footwork in the mid-post to low post. We saw what he could do when it's clutch time in the tournament, Gerald. I think he's along the same lines of, say, a Chris Kaman or an Al Jefferson. I think it's going to be a couple years before you really start to see the fruits of the labor. But yeah, like you said, Gerald, nothing really pops, but he's a solid player.
Yeah. Martin, we talked about it during the playback. I really think Cooper Flagg's going to be a pretty good one. He could be a very good one, could be even a great good one. I'm not going to argue with that. He's definitely by far and away the number 1 draft pick. And that's no joke. He's very all-around skill was there. People were talking about comparison or comps. I didn't want to go poor man's Bird, but with more athleticism. But I see a little bit of that, very little of that. But I do see a little bit of that. I see him as a future All-Star. The thing is, he needs to be a 4. And on Dallas, he can't be a 4 because you know who has to play 4, even though he's bigger than the number 5 guy, the guy that's going to play center. He's bigger than Lively, yet he's going to play, because he wants to play at a 4, because he'll groan and moan until he gets his way. Even though at 31, he needs to play the 5. But okay, AD, you have your way on that. I think Flagg needs to be at the 4. I think ultimately for his entire career to blossom out, we'll still see him play well. But I do think that the Cooper Flagg has a great career in front of him, health willing. But I think at some point in time, they're going to have to trade AD and Dallas Magic, man.
They will. They're going to have to.
How's he going to play 5, Joe? Joe's in the chat. How's he going to play 5 when you got
Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford?
Yeah, you just signed an extension for Daniel Gafford.
Yep. So good luck getting minutes at the 5.
Yeah, good luck. And you got PJ Washington just sitting there getting the crumbs of playing time.
By the way, Gerald, he plays really well at the 4 too. So this will be interesting with Jason Kidd. How long is it going to take him to figure this out? My guess is, Gerald, we'll get to game 70, and he'll finally figure out that Cooper Flag needs to play the 4.
Exactly. We'll see. Same thing for Kyrie. I mean, Martin, I don't know if you're a Mavs fan or not, but again, you committed to 3 years to Kyrie, and already 1 year is going to be toast because of his ACL.
You committed to this group for 3 years. Gafford has 3 years. Yeah. Kyrie has 3 years. AD's probably going to likely sign an extension for a couple of years, Gerald. This group is together for about 3 years.
Yes, Joe, that's what we said. Flag is a 4. Yes, we have been saying that now. So thanks for getting with the program, my friend. Truly appreciate it. It is, of course, Magic Man Sean Grice, along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. Truly appreciate you joining us. Again, are you angry? Are you upset? Are you going to go Laker Tom? Because if you remember a few years back on one of our trade specials, or excuse me, one of our trade deadline specials, Laker Tom was getting so livid, so red in the face. He was so upset that Rob Pelinka did nothing, that he thought he was going to literally have a heart attack on the air. Your thoughts? I mean, obviously you're not going to that extent, but are you a little bit upset that Rob is not taking the onus to go ahead and say, you know what, we need to improve this team. We need to make moves. The rest of the NBA is making moves. Our team has got some deficiencies that we need to address ASAP.
I would say so, Jill. I would say, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing, and both hands seem to be around Rob's what right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because you.
Yes. Exactly.
Because he wasn't there tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And do you know why we know he wasn't there tonight? Because they didn't pan to him once during the pregame, during the actual draft, or I'm watching a little bit of the postgame now.
There was no shot in any war room.
He ain't there.
Yeah, mm-hmm. He ain't there.
He ain't there. So, again, Rob Milk Carton Pelinka absent from the NBA draft again, not up on the scouting department again, letting the rest of the league get better and watching the Lakers stay like this again. Enough's enough, Gerald. Enough's enough. I'm not looking for anything spectacular, but do something. Try something. We didn't hear anything, not a peep out of anything the Lakers were whispering or trying to angle themselves towards. Not a damn thing. And my guess is Pelinka was at home on Wayfair or speaking to his wife, doctor, about where they're going to move next because they can't afford to live in Beverly Hills anymore.
Exactly. Who said trade Dalton for Yang Hansen? Let me see. Oh yeah, YYC is in there. Trade Dalton for Yang Hansen.
You know what? Why don't you throw that lottery ticket that somebody won, Gerald? Why don't you wake up and decide to throw that in the garbage can? Just you know what? I feel lucky. I'll win it tonight.
There you go.
I did want to mention for Dalton Connect, please.
Stone Hansen has put on his Twitter @report_court. He has been very upset all night at the different draft picks that have been made. Three of his guys on his board that were not even in the top 60 were drafted tonight in the first round. So you could tell he's not very happy about that. He has, if you want to take a look, Maxime Renault is his 14th ranked player. Noah Penda is his 15th ranked player. Rasheer Fleming at 20. Max Shulga as number 22. Amari Williams is number 23. And Wooga Poplar is number 25 on his board that is still available. The Lakers tomorrow, I don't know at 55 if they are going to get a big, Magic. I still think it's very sketchy. You have Kalkbrenner. You have what we talked about with Zakarsky. You have what we talked about with Amari Williams, who I would lean for because of the rebounding prowess that he has. personally, and the fact he's got an NBA ready body at 7 feet 260 already is my pick. Quabina says 55, and you can't teach 7'4", so I get where he's at. Who's that? Oh, Joe's on coming on here as well. Joe, good to have you here. Is it still a rain delay for the Dodgers? Joe, you with us? Joe, can you hear us? All right, Joe's not.
This is Joe on the can right now.
Yeah, Joe on the can right now. He came on the air, but not yet. I can't hear a thing you're saying, my friend. But Magic, let me get it to you, and Joe will probably interrupt us as only he can, anyways, when he can. Because Joe, we don't have you on the mic as of yet. Let me ask you this: do you think there will be a 7-footer with talent? Golden is another name that's out there from Michigan. Do you think any one of those guys will be available when the Lakers pick at 55? Unless Rob does something, and he's on the phone and does something different.
Unless the answer is no.
I knew you were going to say that, man. I knew you were going to say that. It's just disappointing if that's the case because, again,
there's no pot of gold at 55 right now. Just letting everybody know.
There's still 4, and these guys, all 4 of them, okay, they'll all have their issues in the league. Lateral quickness with those guys is the first thing I would point out with all 4 of them from what I've observed is going to be a problem for all of them. Because, when you're 7'2", 250, 260, or 7'4", in Zakarski's case, you are going to have an issue with unless you're playing in drop coverage. That's going to be an issue at playoff time. But the fact is, these guys still have talent to do decent things in the league. Again, there's still 4 left in my consideration as far as 7-footers that the Lakers could go ahead and help get some of that size. But I'm not sure that one will be available when the Lakers pick at 55. So hopefully we can get Joe back onto the screen here. He was having issues coming on there. But Blue Magic, great to have you here. Really good crowd tonight. It is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. Of course, to update everybody, if you haven't heard, the Lakers have not done squat tonight for anything in the draft with all the player movement and drafts, trades leading up to tonight's draft. Let me ask you this. Who do you think was the best pick? I would have a feeling it is for you in South Beach.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. The Miami Heat grabbing Kasparis at 20 is the steal of the draft. And for me, it's probably the steal of the last I would say 5 years, 6 years, Gerald. Because he's that good. He's immediately going to be their floor general. And he has weapons around him. This means that the Heat don't have to trade where Gerald, the Duncan Robinson contract is still really bad. It's still really, really still bad. There. It's still there. They're slowly getting off it, but it's still there. If Riles can find any sucker for that one, and he gets a star, watch out.
Yes, Lakers Nation, DeAndre Ayton noise is getting louder and louder because they have 15 centers now on Portland. I'm kidding. But they do have more size there, which they really didn't need. But Joe Soro is here. Joe, can you hear us?
You can hear me, right?
Yes, you're good to go now, my friend.
Good. Yeah, I couldn't help but chime in because of you guys' Rob Pelinka lingo. Rob Pelinka is in a situation right now where he's going to be looking for a job soon. So there isn't any motivation for him to do anything at this point. The sale of the Lakers is going to be official in the next week, you said?
Yeah. No, it's later this year, actually. Later this year, I think.
So the transfer is later this year.
They said they thought it would be around just before Halloween, Joe.
Because remember, the NBA owners have to go ahead and approve it, whatnot.
Approve it, yeah.
And that's why the valuation may, and I say may when I said this because I was reading the Yahoo article, may go up to as much as $12 billion. So the official price may go as high as $12 billion, Joe.
Very nice. They're going to approve that because that obviously enhances all their investments and their worth and their net worth. So that makes sense. The Lakers are probably focused more on the free agency at this point. I don't think they're going to be focused too much on the draft. This isn't one of my favorite drafts. I thought it'd be better last year than it ended up being. It's probably why Stone was going nuts halfway through the back half of the draft, because I think a lot of these teams picked players that were not top. They weren't top first picks, but it reminds me a lot of what happens when teams are desperate to draft a quarterback in the NFL and they're willing to sacrifice a first round pick to get a quarterback, just to get a quarterback to see if they can get lucky. And that's pretty much how today's draft went. And I wish I had more time to do more investigating in college basketball so I can know a little more about the NBA draft. But, I can only watch 4 hours of sports every day before I'm like, well, it's either I'm staying home all day or I'm making a living. But the draft was, I don't know. We'll see what good scenarios come about. I have no idea how this is going to turn out. We're going to know probably in two or 3 years anyways. But as far as Rob Pelinka is concerned, as far as the Lakers are concerned, I just wanted to let everybody know that the Lakers are in good hands. It's going to be official here in October when Mark Walter and his group takes over. And I'm just going to tell you guys, wait and watch and not to worry.
Once again, it is Joe Soro. Join him as he covers the Dodgers along with Vari, SB, Sports Baby on the Joe Soro Experiment channel on YouTube and also on Playback. Lakers Nation didn't watch the draft. You didn't need to because the Lakers did absolutely nothing. So, Joe, you don't seem too concerned that Rob not being active is a big indicator of what's to come.
No, not at all. Rob is going to be set aside sooner than later. And Mark Walter, and I'm going to say this now because I think it's a reality. It's not so much anything other than reality. When ownership comes into a business, they like their own guys. Typically, that's the rumor. That's the pattern, right? More so than that, Mark Walter likely already knows who he wants in these positions. So don't be surprised. Oh, by the way, Michael Conforto just hit a home run, and this is after Muncy hit a grand slam. So Dodgers are doing pretty well right now. But anyways, I'm going to say this because I think this is what's going to happen. If J.J. Redick doesn't knock the socks off the Lakers this season, you probably will see a replacement there as well. So, Rob, anyone in the front office, your favorite couple in that place, I'm not going to say their name because I hate it. They're all going to be gone. And Jeannie will stay there because she is kind of like the Magic Johnson of the Lakers now. That Magic Johnson's that face of the LA Dodgers to a certain degree, kind of like the mascot. And that's what she's going to be because she still loves to be around her team. And I get that. And there's some value there in that for her. I could see that. But I don't, that's not going to be long either. I don't see Jeannie in her late 60s, being around a bunch of, Mark Walter types that are actually very good at what they do and very businesslike about things. I think she wants to kind of live an easy life. So it's going to be exciting to see not people getting fired or people getting let go and like that. I'm not that vicious. It's just I'm looking forward to a state of the art. I'm going to use that word a lot in the next few years. State of the art business practices that have already shown that they're very good at what they're doing. And it's just crazy that same company is going to be running both operations in the same city. I just think that's crazy.
She's our glorified Milton Wadhams, Gerald. She's got a little office there. They're still letting her collect a paycheck. You could
She
be
owns 15%.
yeah. So you could be involved, that much, but eventually you're gonna have to go on vacation permanently.
Magic, 2 questions for you. Lakers Nation's got the first one as far as which jersey you got on. You told us on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break, so you can tell us on that. And then from Drip Show, thank you for the super chat. Rob is afraid. Is Rob afraid of making a mistake with the new owners? Go ahead, Sean.
All right, so I'm currently sporting the 1979-1980 Irvin Magic Johnson rookie jersey that he wore on draft night. Magic Johnson is the greatest number 1 overall pick in all 4 major sports. The number 1 overall pick with the most Super Bowls in NFL history is Terry Bradshaw with 4. The most number 1 overall picks with Stanley Cups in the NHL would be Guy Lafleur with 5. Major League Baseball, don't even go there. And nobody compares as a number 1, like not even LeBron, Gerald. As far as the hype is concerned, LeBron and Irvin are there. But Irvin has 5, LeBron has 4, and he's the greatest number 1 overall pick in major sports by far. And
Can you just not do the Danny thing? Can you just do the just I know he wants to see the 32 on it.
Oh, so. It's the huge block letters one.
Okay, there you go. All right,
yeah.
Looking good, my
First
friend.
of all, there's nothing wrong with showing the jersey. What I didn't like is the camera due east, north, with a weird-ass fucking smile, and constantly every time I would go over there, it would be like, what are you doing? Just to make that clear. Thank you. That's all I wanted to say.
Joe tried to swap some virtual sense into someone that didn't work.
Lakers Nation, to say clearly, and then I might have Sean finish that question from Drip. No, I never said the Lakers were not trading. I said I would hope the Lakers are trading in the summer of NBA trades because the Lakers need to make trades. But again, we have no faith in Rob. Joe was the one who was talking about the continuity of the roster and not making trades. I think it is in the Lakers' best interest to make a trade.
Yeah, I mean, look, if Rob Pelinka doesn't, Gerald, if Rob Pelinka doesn't want to do his job, fine, then leave. Then leave. If you're not motivated, guess what? You don't get fucking paid a job to be motivated. That's not why you get paid to do a job. Everybody knows this, including that grown-ass man. So
yeah, I know that Tough, who was on the show, asked me if halfway through the draft I think that Lakers are going to make a move the rest of the evening, and I said no. Yeah, because they just, again, Rob, if he would have made a move, would have made it already.
And that's another thing. Like, if there was a move to be made, somebody would have made it, but nobody really made a move tonight. Nobody really made a move. I think teams like Utah, Brooklyn, Washington, even OKC were asking for too much, especially with a dearth of talent in this draft outside of probably the top 6 or 7. You could flip a coin on everybody else after that. Exceptions noted. But yeah, Gerald. So fuck Rob Pelinka's motivations. I don't give a rat's ass what your motivations are if I'm working with you or for you. It doesn't matter. That's not the point. You have to do your job. Do your job. He wasn't there tonight. If he doesn't give a shit, then fucking leave, man.
So Drip Show was asking, do you think Rob is afraid of making a mistake with the new owners? Do you think he is afraid?
Without a doubt, he's afraid.
Okay. Do you feel the same way?
I'm gonna throw a lifeline to Rob here. We still gotta say, hey, he made the Luka trade happen, and it wasn't of the assistance from anyone other than him and his relationship with Nico Harrison and past dialogue, right? So I'm not gonna be too hard on him, This isn't a Rob. At least for me, I'm just talking about me right now. This isn't a Rob bash. This is just what's going to happen. It's not about Rob. It's not about anyone else that's in the front office. It's just there's already a pattern that set a precedent that we already know about with this particular ownership. They have things already handled. They already know what they're doing. So my advice would be maybe Rob, if he outperforms, there's sometimes once in a while somebody might outperform what you think they can do. And, oh, hey, if this is what you're going to do, cool. Hey, he might do it. I don't know. Probably not. But let's just say he does. Maybe the Guggenheims decide, hey, we'll keep him on as the general manager, but we're still going to hire a player personnel guy like a Presti, like Conley, whoever, right? And that's not a bad deal either. That's how Jerry West and Mitch Kupchak worked. Mitch Kupchak was the general manager. Jerry West was the player personnel guy. So that might happen. He might. Remember I told you guys, I would rather have, I think where Rob Pelinka would flourish is just making sure the offices got paper and paper clips and shit like that, right? Like, hey,
you're talking about a gopher, Joe?
Yeah, man. Hey, take care. Make sure the floors are clean. And again, he's going to have a lot of resource now, right? He's going to have an unlimited resource to make sure those printing and press and video devices, all those things are like top of the line.
Hey, Rob. Hey, Rob. There's some melted cheese in the microwave. You're gonna have to go in there and really dig in.
It's exciting because the history's there. It's already working elsewhere. The only thing that's going to be different here is there isn't going to be a system where you can throw everything and anything at something like you can in baseball. But in basketball, if you do get the right guys, meaning the guys that have bird rights that you're trading for, or you draft the right guys, these guys can sign anyone and everyone that's a Laker if they want to, and they'll deal with the extra money if they have to. So, scenario one, if you're going to have Luka and you're eventually going to have a second star that the Lakers are likely going to acquire, then if you're fortunate enough to draft or pick someone up like you have the last few years in a Caruso or a Reeves, they're not ultimate superstars, but they are integral parts of winning. You are able to sign those guys, and they're going to have their roles defined, and they'll be perfect for what they need to do. And then at that point, you're not going to have to worry, oh, well, we're going to have to choose between this person or that person. No, they'll just say, hey, we'll get both. We'll keep both. That's the advantage that this ownership will have versus what Jeannie had as the full owner. And they'll get there. They're going to figure it out. Jerry Buss, God rest his soul, Jerry Buss used to say, whenever they would keep changing the CBA, like, we'll figure it out. This is quoted, by the way. I didn't make this up. He always said, we will figure out a way to get the player. Don't worry about that. Let's just see what happens. And I wanted to really, really make this clear. The Buss family have done more than any ownership, in my view, since 1979 in any sport, in any team. You cannot argue against 11 championships and a culture that has defined basketball. And Sean, you said Magic Johnson's the number one first overall pick in all the sports. I have never thought about that. I think you're 100% right. That might be the best assessment I've heard in terms of grading. I never even thought about that. Like, who is better than Magic? Seriously, 5 NBA championships, a culture shifting. One guy changed everything. I mean, Larry Bird was a part of that, but I'm talking about one team, right? Like, he is the definition of culture, a culture that has never, ever really left in 40 years. Even the Shaq Kobe era was a Showtime version. of what that was. It
It
wasn't
was like
exactly
a, yeah, it was like a flash. It was like a
Yes.
flash in the
And
pan.
I
Yeah.
said this. I remember I said this in '01. I said, look at the ending lineup on the Lakers. You had Derek Fisher, you had Rick Fox, you had Robert Horry, Shaq, and Kobe. I go, this is the best looking starting lineup on top. Like, this is as Hollywood as you can get, and they're every single one of them were mean motherfuckers too. Like mean, wanted to win. Like, this was the perfect five. So it's exciting to know that they had a 46-year run of unbelievable excellence.
Number
And
one.
then now you
Number
go
one.
to this. I mean, how lucky are we as Laker fans? I mean, if any Laker fan is just
Well, I you know what, Joe? I think one of the best. I think just it fits her is that Jeannie is now the Lakers caretaker. She was a caretaker. She was a caretaker in between eras here. She made sure that she took care of what was already a golden goose, and then she passed it along to somebody who would make sure it thrived. So I think caretaker would be a good phrase to bestow on her.
well, the fact that she sold the team to the best ownership in sports only shows that she really does care.
You hear that, Stan Kroenke? Go fuck yourself.
I think Kroenke had his time. He won in Colorado. He won in LA. He won in Colorado. He's done enough with all his teams. Am I slurring, guys? I don't know what the hell Dan's talking about.
Yeah, it sounds like you were slurring just a little bit.
I'm not drinking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
might-
you
yeah.
sounded
my
fine
mic,
in
I don't know.
playbacks. I don't know. It might be. Go ahead, Sean.
No, I was gonna say it might be the treble on your mic, Joe.
Could be.
Because I don't really hear slurring. As if
I'm having a Fresca. Like,
Fresca.
A Fresca. Okay.
You have no idea what he's talking about, but I do.
oh man, I'm laughing out while I look out the window right now.
It is, of course, Magic
What are
Man
you
Sean
looking
Price.
at?
Exactly. And Joe Soro. I am Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for joining us. If you have not yet liked and subscribed, please do so to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air, like tomorrow after the NBA draft. Plus, join us for the second round of the NBA draft. You'll get to see it like we do if you become a VIP. It's a free profile. Just make a free profile on Playback and jump on Lakers Fast Break on Playback, playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break, and you can watch what we watch tomorrow for the second round of the NBA draft. And then we'll be on tomorrow evening to talk about who the Lakers ultimately drafted and didn't draft, should have drafted, might have drafted, would have drafted. We'll find out and see what Rob has up his sleeve for next time around.
See,
Magic Man?
Gerald, yeah, Gerald. So, are you handing out anybody A's tonight for the draft? Anybody gets an A from you?
Well, Dallas,
Other than Dallas.
Miami, and Casper.
Yeah.
I really like that one as
Yeah,
well.
I would say them.
I mean, Stone is so high on that guy. He was the number 4 on his board. I'd probably say nothing else to me really stands out. It's like, wow, that is a winner. That's a perfect fit, or that's a really good fit for that pick. I'm not even thinking that for me, Dylan Harper is an A, because I really think he needs to shoot better. If he does not shoot better in the league, that's always going to hold him back, Magic Man. So.
100%, Gerald. 100%. And I'll say this: I went off on Bailey a little bit in Playback, and just to emphasize the point even more, Gerald. Rutgers did not have a very memorable season this past year, Gerald.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember before the start of the year, both those guys were considered to be in the top 10. So you would think that two players who are in the top 10 should be able to at least get Rutgers to a big.
They could take you, me, and Joe as the extra players and should still get into the top 64 of the NCAA.
You
So
should.
what happened? That's like
What
Illinois.
happened?
Illinois had the 20 and 21st pick in the NBA draft. Why did they have why didn't they have a better season in the Big Ten?
100%, especially considering the previous year you went to the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
So, Gerald, it's not necessarily fingerprints on what a player is, but it's a good window into what kind of impact they have on a team. I think Dylan Harper is a very good player. We'll see how it translates with the Spurs. Gerald, we have no idea what the hell Ace Bailey is going to be in the NBA, and neither did the Utah Jazz. They took a big swing here, and Gerald, there is more than probably a 75-80% chance that I would say Joe will visit Disneyland a dozen times before Ace Bailey stays a Utah Jazz.
Absolutely. But I think, Legend of Experiment, Joe, really likes Carter Bryant. And he thinks that, along with getting Dylan Harper, San Antonio's future really looks up. Going to have a lot of athletes on that roster. Going to have a lot of youth and athletes. But again, for San Antonio, they got to get some shooters on that team because nobody I see is really going to go ahead and be a knockdown shooter, which is going to clog up the lane for them, Joe. That's going to be a problem unless they solve it through free agency or through trades this summer.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what's going to happen with San Antonio and their identity. I don't like the blood clot thing with Wemby, by the way. I'm holding judgment on that until I see him play. I don't like the word blood clots. Blood clots and torn Achilles seem to be an ongoing theme in the NBA right now. I might be overthinking it, but at the same time, I'm like, well, is this going to be a reoccurring thing? If they're as good as Wemby goes, right? So if he's healthy, if he's playing, then I think everything else comes together. Castle's a good player. Fox is a good player. Fox isn't going to be the shooter, right? But he's going to get to the basket. So finding shooters when you have everything else, I think, is a little easier because you do have the talent that's going to restrict the defense from focusing on those open shooters. And R.C. Buford and San Antonio, much like the Mark Walter ownership, they're always going to figure things out because that's what they've done for 30, 40 years now, 30 years. So I'm not too concerned. I mean, looking at it from an NBA standpoint, NBA fan standpoint, I'm not too concerned with San Antonio. I think they'll figure it out as long as they have the healthy guys. Dallas, we've talked a little bit about Dallas and how Cooper Flagg's position is going to be at the 4. And a lot of reasons why that's going to be important is Cooper Flagg will be a better offensive player. If he hits his peak, he will be a better version of Giannis. In that Giannis is a two-way player, but Giannis has never really been a good shooter, but I believe Cooper Flagg could develop into that and have the ability to get to the basket as well. And he does have the work ethic, and he does have the focus, and he has what people. I don't usually like to say this because it doesn't make I just don't like saying it. He's a competitor. Well, no shit. He's playing sports, isn't he? Of course, he's a competitor. But yeah, and Oklahoma City just showed the NBA that you don't have to. This is the scary part about the shift in the NBA. The NBA was the one sport where young teams never played well in these scenarios. This is the second youngest team in the NBA, and they just won a championship. That shit happens in football. That doesn't happen in basketball, in the NBA. Remember the Dallas Cowboys when they won their first championship? They were the youngest team in the NFL, right? And they were a juggernaut. This is the Oklahoma City Thunder with the leadership they have, with Presti being the best executive in the league by a mile in my book. If they're going to win at a young age, they're going to continue to develop. This might be the one team that might have that ability to go on a run here. But I do think they still need one more guy, one more star to play with Shea. Because I don't think anyone else on this team is a star, even Chet Holmgren.
Well, I agree with you. They need more ways to facilitate their offense because at times it really looked bad in the half court. So I really think they need to go ahead and do something about that. And if they don't, it leaves them very vulnerable for someone to come in there that can be better in the half court if they limit their turnovers and also limit the number of fouls against Oklahoma City. So,
I'm going to answer this. So, Legend of Experiment, he goes, Joe, they didn't really play anybody. See, I'm noticing a theme the last 2-3 years. They didn't play anybody. You guys are watching what's going on in the NBA, right? People are dropping like flies. It doesn't matter anymore. They're not making it. Guys are not making it through the season. Whatever that reason is, that's a discussion for another time. But that excuse can't really hold any water anymore because it's happening every year. You're having the Lillards blowing out a tire. You're having the Tatum's blowing out a tire. You're having the Tyrese's blowing a tire. So it's becoming a norm now. And as far as looking at, let's say, Denver, right? Denver was probably the hardest. I mean, Indiana took OKC to the brink too. But Denver, Aaron Gordon was playing on one leg, right? Michael Porter Jr. was jacked up. Jamal Murray was jacked up. The only guy I think that was sort of healthy was Jokic. But that's because we're talking about 2020, 2021, 22, 23, 24, 20. You're talking about 6 seasons of those guys just getting deeper and deeper and deeper into those playoff runs. And some of them won a championship, and it's wearing on these guys. I don't know if it's the training. I don't know if it's the aggressiveness or the labor intensiveness of the NBA now. I don't know what that is.
Joe, it's very simple. I know a lot of people are trying to complicate this. It's very simple. You know what the problem is, Joe?
What?
You take a basketball player who also plays football and tell him you need to pick one or the other. And you're going to play it 12 months out of the year, every day, and it's going to be wear and tear on the same parts of your fucking body over and over and over again. Instead of beforehand, what happened was athletes at college and the professionals, Joe, in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and it's been documented, played multiple sports, exercising multiple different muscles and different body parts, and they didn't experience the injuries that these guys experience today.
There's a lot of merit to that, and you're probably right. That's part of it. I think I've thought about this the last few months. You know, there's a lot of discussion on why demographics are changing in the NBA and changing, especially in baseball, right? There's a certain culture in baseball. It's either the Caribbean players or it's the American players, right? You're not getting a lot of. I mean, the Japanese players are probably the next phase, and then you look at basketball in the sense of who has the chance to get the notoriety or to the level that they need the attention to have people look at them, right? The more resources you have now, the more games you play, the more tournaments you're in, the more travel ball you're in. Those are the ones that are starting to get into the leagues, and they're playing more games. There was a time where there was an off season. So college basketball, when they played college basketball, it was over in March. And these guys didn't play in April, May, June, July, August. They played in October. So now you can't do that. Now you're playing in other things so that you can get the attention and people know who you are because everything's about attention, 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 and marketing, marketing, marketing. And they're wearing their body out early. And then on top of that, they're playing longer in the league. But what they're doing is they're only playing 60 games out of the 82, and a lot of them aren't making it through the playoffs. So it's a lot of different reasons why. You notice they don't do that in football because you can't. See, football hasn't really changed other than guys are bigger, faster, and stronger, right? But they've curtailed that a little bit because of CTE and all that. But you look at football, you cannot play football in the summer and kill yourself like you can during the regular season. You just can't. Sure, there's mini camps, there's training camps, there's, things that you can do that can, get you in shape. But you can't play week 1 through 17 at any
Joe,
part of the year.
the body needs rest. The body needs rest.
It does.
There's a refractory period here, and I'm pissed off. You're pissed off. Gerald's pissed off. I think this has been a problem in the AAU system for a couple decades. They just fucking wear and tear these kids into the ground, and they don't say, you know what? We played heavy tournaments in June and July. Gerald, I think we could take August off and rest up.
We probably can.
Seriously,
instead of after summer league, it gets pretty slow.
Because Gerald, we're also seeing a proclivity of more non-contact injuries in basketball than other sports as well.
Yes. There's currently eight Achilles injuries to have taken place in the past, I believe, 12 calendar months, if I'm not mistaken. So, ER says Joe's laying in bed eating Cheetos right now.
Okay, if you,
I'm laying down. I'm not eating Cheetos though.
But we live in a different era as well, too. This is an era where you can't take a break. Like Joe was talking about the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Anquan Bolden, after a really good year, shortly after he retired, Gerald, there was a documentary, and he said that one of the lessons he learned was that he had to work out 12 months a year if he wanted to be an all-pro in the NFL. It wasn't the season's over in January and I could take a couple months off and get back to it in April. No, he said I took 2 weeks off and I was back at it.
Well, there's definitely
and some guys can handle that and some guys can't.
It depends.
But it has to be curtailed. But you can't keep pushing everything that's square peg and trying to fit it in a round hole, because you're gonna get Achilles injuries and you're gonna get ACL injuries. And this is what's go ahead.
It depends on, look, genetics play a huge part in a human body's ability to handle things. It's everything. There's
Joe, where do you think LeBron had? Okay, so I'll ask this question, but differently, because I've asked it to other people too. Gerald and Joe, would you say that the one area that separates LeBron James from everybody else in sports, as far as longevity and productivity, is rest? He's found the ability to rest when others have not.
You're right, because there is discussions that he's had about how he loves to sleep. Right?
Yes.
He sleeps a lot. That's the biggest thing. So genetics are going to play. Genetics, I know there's some luck in there too, because they are playing a sport, but you look at somebody like LeBron James. LeBron James comes from the genetics of a Bruce Matthews, a Clay Matthews, a Karl Malone, a John Stockton. For those of you who don't know who Bruce Matthews and Clay Matthews are, this is Clay Matthews Sr., not Jr. These guys, Clay Matthews Sr. played 17 seasons in the NFL at linebacker. His brother, Bruce Matthews, is a Hall of Famer, played 19 seasons. Their father, Clay Matthews Jr.'s grandfather played 14 seasons in the 50s and 60s. These guys were born, although Clay Matthews Jr. didn't. I don't.
They're bred for it. They're bred for it.
He might have gotten his mother's genes because he was
So
always injured, right?
They're bred for it,
right? But you know, and again, looking at, let's say, Karl Malone and John Stockton. You look at Karl Malone and John Stockton; those guys were always available. LeBron is always available. Some people out there just lucky in terms of how their body is able to recover, and they put in the work too. You look at Ray Lewis. I have said this numerous times. I just want to meet Ray Lewis and ask him a question. I'm like, you played. Ray Lewis played. He was a middle linebacker and was an absolutely ferocious middle linebacker, a guy that would go through a wall. And when I look at him walking around and talking, he looks like he has never played football in his life. He walks like a normal guy. He doesn't look like he's in any pain. Now, he might be able to hide. He's hiding it, and I don't know it, but I would love to know. If it's what I think it is, I'm like, there's just some guys that are born like that. They're born to deal with it. They're able to handle it. Now, the Kobe thing was a little different. Kobe, the trainer who was on The Last Dance, who trained Jordan, and that same trainer trained Kobe. He had made a comment about how different Kobe and Jordan were. Kobe always wanted to do more, no matter what. He didn't want to ever rest, no matter what. Jordan, when you would say, all right, that's enough, Michael, he'd be like, all right, cool. Right? So some guys know how to say, hey, my body's like, cool. And some don't. Now, some can still flourish not resting. If I have to use one more example before I bore everyone with this, the difference between someone like Dorian Yates, Mr. Olympia, 6-time Mr. Olympia, versus, let's say, Arnold Schwarzenegger, 7-time Mr. Olympia. Arnold used to do three body parts a week. He used to work out like a madman, 5 hours a day. Dorian Yates used to work out for 45 minutes, 4 days a week. Each achieved the exact same thing in their eras. So it depends on the player. Mikal Bridges hasn't missed an NBA game in this era. He's just one of those guys that has that skin and those bones and that ability to recover, right? LeBron, going back to LeBron hasn't had, God, knock on wood, hasn't had a major injury. He's had injuries, of course, but he's never had a major one. And even Jerome Bettis, to some degree, the amount of destruction that guy did and was on him for 13 seasons, the fact that he never had a torn ACL, a torn anything is crazy to think that guy was a machine. So how do they fix it? How do you fix the UCL issue with pitchers, right? I don't know. Maybe it's just we're in that area where there needs to be a technology or medicine that fixes it. Otherwise, it's going to keep going the way it's going.
Joe, we're so far along now. If there was a great piece of technology, they would have discovered that by now. But the human body is frail, man.
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
And
it's not supposed to. Human beings are not supposed to play football, right?
Or throw a ball 99 miles an hour
with
or
movement.
jump through a freaking arena. Yeah.
Thameless, just once again, the Lakers did not do anything during the course of today's draft. But one thing I wanted to ask you guys, because YYC put it in the comments earlier, Magic Man touched on that, but I did want to ask, the influence of European basketball is again in this draft. Several players from France, Spain, also Israel, also as well China were taken in this draft. Mm-hmm. All apologies to Mark, but no Australians, even though 4.
One Canadian. That's it, Mark. Usually it's like 5 or 6. 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Will Riley.
4 Australians were supposed to be somewhere picked in the 2 rounds and have yet to be chosen. But Joe, your thoughts? He was saying YYC that is this a sign of a European takeover of the NBA?
I was trying to phrase this without sounding like I'm using. I'm just gonna say it, race. And the reason why I brought that up is because the first overall pick is Cooper Flag.
Yeah.
And then you're seeing the influx of the European game. In baseball, you're not seeing too many Black Americans play baseball anymore. It's basically still white America and all the Caribbean teams, right? What's changing there? Why is that happening? It's happening because of resource and time. There's investments in the Caribbean countries. Travel ball has changed baseball to the point where if you're not traveling with your kid 12 months out of the year, taking them to all these tournaments, you're not going to have a shot at getting to the majors. Then you go to in the NBA. Everything is geared towards, I guess, preparing that player to get through that 1 year of college and get him to the NBA. No one can really showcase themselves in a normal manner like they used to, and let them be discovered. Now you got to go make them look at you. Otherwise, they're not gonna look at you. So who has the resource is going to be the key. Who has the resource? Which parents have the resource to get their kid where they need to go? Now, there's a little bit of that. There's always been a little bit of that there. You know, AAU ball gets a lot of the flack in terms of why players are fundamentally bad and all that. There's a lot of truth to that. But when you're in the NBA and it doesn't demand it, now what? What's the excuse then? You can't keep blaming the AAU ball when the NBA is doing the same thing now. Everything is run, 3-point, 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 right? Everything in baseball right now is swing for the fences. Well, if you've got a better option, then why isn't it working? If you want to play baseball like they did in the 90s in the National League, get a guy on base. Get a guy at first and then bunt him to second. Yeah, that's not going to work. It's much better. The odds are better that batter tries to hit it out the park and get the 2 runs instead of the 1. It's better to shoot the 3 than to go for the 2, right?
Yes.
So there's a shift going on, and as far as the health of the player, we are a softer culture, and this has nothing to do with just sports. We're softer. We're more pampered. One little sidebar, all of a sudden you got to go get a psychologist. Very few people can have the mentality to play through the littlest inconvenience. And then you reward petulance. Look at James Harden. Look at Jimmy Butler. And that's just an example in sports. But we reward those who try to rig the system right in front of your face. So a lot of that all plays into this whole mentality and this frustration on why things go the way they go. It's all just it's all bundled up together.
You just answered the question, though. You just answered that question. Why are the European players so much more sound than American-born players, Joe? Because they actually play organized basketball. The big problem with AAU basketball isn't the lack of fundamentals, Gerald. It's the fucking coaches out for themselves. These greedy men who only care about making money and being that number 2 assistant on Duke or Syracuse or UCLA. I have a top team in the AAU, and UCLA is looking at my kid. Guess what? I'm going to be screaming and hollering all tournament long, Gerald. And when they recruit him, and I get an assistant coach's job, guess what? I'm on easy street. That's all these guys care about. That's all they fucking care about. They do not give a shit about these kids. If you are not going to be in the NBA draft, they do not give a shit about you. That is the big difference between coaching AAU basketball and football, hockey, baseball. the coaches there somewhat give a shit, especially in college, especially mid-tier colleges. They will actually give a shit about these kids. AU basketball just treats these kids as disposable. And that doesn't get talked about enough. Why? Why does it not get talked about enough, Joe? You brought up race. Why doesn't that get brought up, Joe?
Well, because people are worried about being called racist when you bring up race in this situation, but it's an underlining issue.
It's
because
about a system where a lot of AAU coaches, not all of them, a lot of them are young black men, and they have a program to run, and they've been propagandized by only seeing the money. That's all they see. It's beyond race, Joe. It's about fucking greedy.
it is, but the problem is those who have
But
money.
you're right. The people like to use that as a distraction. Go ahead.
Yeah. The money part plays a fact. It's always played a factor in it, and what's changed is the greed. The greed of I'm going to use the NCAA as an example. So
they're the worst, by the
so
way.
the
They're the worst.
NCAA could have avoided what eventually happened with the NIL if they weren't so arrogantly greedy. They thought this thing would never change. They were blockbuster when Netflix came to them and said, "Hey, look, we can sell this to you." But they were so arrogant, and the comparison is kids, coaches, media people were telling these guys in the NCAA, like, look, man, how are these guys supposed to go and do things if everything's a violation? Look what they did to Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson gets a trip to go talk. He's playing 2 sports. He's going to be a pro in a year. He takes a flight to what will be eventually a team that's going to pick him up, and he ends up being ineligible for baseball his last year, right? Like, that was the stuff. Like, we think things started 5-10 years ago. No, the stuff that started rooting way before, and it just got to the point where as soon as it started blowing up, now it's consuming everything. And we're on a show here, and we're talking sports when we're not on the show, and we're hating this and hating that and doing it. Well, all this does come from one thing, and that is greed. And that's why I've tried to preach as much as I can on this show that greed is always going to be the root of every issue we have in sports and anything in life. And if you're going to sit there and be cynical and jaded and say, you know what, everybody else is trying to get theirs, I'm going to get mine, then you've already pretty much polluted any future of anything with some ethics in it. You're basically turning into Las Vegas. People accept that Las Vegas is a shithole, and we're just going to go there and be shitheads in a shithole, right? Hey, all sins stay in Vegas, right? Now, that used to be okay a little bit because you had a chance to win in Vegas. You had a chance to
You're way off, Joe. You're way off.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm using that as an example because people can relate to that. I was going to compliment Vegas for a minute, but you interrupted me. Vegas used to actually reward you sometimes. Now they don't reward you with shit because of the greed. Because now they got to get back what they lost. And in the end, we're going to sit here, we're going to watch it. We're still going to watch it, and we're still talking about it. And if we're going to sit here and say it's a problem, yet we're still supporting it, then we're the problem too. So it doesn't matter in the end. We're the problem. We're the problem we're complaining about. Hey, by the way, what was that idiot experiment? I've never used any gear, so you can suck my ass.
Same thing for you.
I've never used gear. Okay, so yeah, you can stick that up your rear end.
Yep. Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Thank you for all the new people that are showing up today. Please like and subscribe. But you guys, will regret your trolling, because your trolling doesn't work with us. And if you get Joe mad, he's just going to go off on you, and it makes great content for us, and it makes a headache for you. And that's all I'll say. And we'll just leave that alone.
Some are
So,
masochists. Some like that negative attention. I get it.
oh man, then they need to go to their local BDSM parlor then instead of stopping by here, if that's the case. But it is, of course, the Lakers fast break. The NBA draft first round is done. Lakers did absolutely zippo.
Okay,
Nothing.
so
for
Gerald,
Blake.
I want everybody to know that after somebody did some digging here, it looks like Colin Murray Boyles gave the Zach LaVine reaction to being drafted by the Toronto Raptors, Gerald. Zach once did with being drafted by the Minnesota Timberwolves. There were a lot of F-bombs.
I just a lot of uncertainty there because of who they have. Scotty Barnes already playing that type of role, so I don't know if it's the greatest fit in the world. But Joe, I asked Sean what his best fit was. It's funny because Kevin O'Connor of Yahoo Sports hates the Kasparas. It's the worst pick in this draft for him is the Kasparas pick, which again Stone is extremely high on. But Joe, I know you said you didn't study as much of the first rounders this year, but you did have some good insight during our playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. Is there one pick that stood out as a positive for their team upcoming?
That's a good question. Let me see here. I'm gonna hold on one second here. Sorry, I'm trying to get my notes. 1 second.
As we're waiting for Joe Soro to be professional, ladies and gentlemen,
The best. Who was the best shooter in the draft? Trey Johnson, right?
Or
I'd say
Nipple.
Yeah, Nipple. Yeah.
Trey, right? Are we in agreement there?
Both are good shooters, Joe.
Yeah.
Trey Johnson or Nipple. Well, they're both right around 40% coming out of college.
Okay, so whenever you can get a good shooter, and it's usually in the top 10, in a league where shooting is key, right? You're talking that's what separates. Defense did help, obviously. I know I was against defense this year, but it seems like Oklahoma City was able to do it when it mattered, right? But
yes,
I don't. The reason why I'm tongue-tied right now is the team he went to is the problem. But they did get, in my book, other than Cooper Flagg, I think that was probably the one player that in the draft so far that I was like, that's actually a very good pick by Washington. Well, I don't know if it'll make it. I don't think it'll make a difference. You're talking about a guy that was a 5-star recruit out of high school and played well in high school, played well the 1 year he played at Texas. To me, when you have somebody that can shoot at this young of age and you go to a team where he can flourish because there's no one really in front of him, you got to just throw him in there and let him do his thing. I think that always bodes well in terms of that player becoming a fixture in the NBA at 10 to 12 year or 10 to 15 year player. That's why I'm trying to support Connect as much as I can, because I believe his ability to shoot, once he figures some things out, it's going to be a huge asset for the Lakers, because you just can't find guys. I mean, the guy, every time he went in for 5 minutes, he would make a couple shots. That, to me, has a lot of value, especially in today's NBA. If you're not going to be a 5-tool player, you got to be somewhat of a specialist. And the
Lakers have to build a defense around him, or he has to improve enough to not.
No, he has to improve, and he has the NBA body to do it. He just needs to be average. Doesn't need to be someone that needs to shut someone down. But if he can be an average defender or a good team-oriented defender, which I believe he has the physical tools to do it, then that shooting becomes a whole different issue for the opponent. So somebody like Trey Johnson, I think that was the one that hit the most for me in terms of, you know what, I think this is going to work. Now,
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there. And the fact is, I know you're not high on. Again, they're looking and staring at themselves, Sean, like we talked about. Washington being a team that's going to have another bad season, but they have got a clear path. 100. I know you said, Joe, nobody would want to go to Washington, but ultimately, when you've got $100 million potentially that you could have open up next summer, whether or not you have free agents coming is irrelevant. You could make trades and get more assets out of it, i.e., what Oklahoma City did earlier this decade, Sean.
Yes, absolutely, Gerald. And I'll just say this. Another team that is making some moves, and I think I understand what they're trying to do, Gerald. The New Orleans Pelicans are literally setting themselves on fire.
Yeah, you could say that.
You've traded away your 2026 pick unprotected, Gerald. Unprotected.
A legend of experiment. You don't even know who your father is. So why are you telling me I don't know who Carter Bryant is?
So I would say, Gerald, picking up Fears is a great draft pick.
Troy
putting Derek Queen beside Zion Williamson, bad idea. Good idea, bad idea. This is the New Orleans. They are good idea, bad idea team.
I can't wait until he gets 5 power forwards on the same team like he did with Detroit, Sean. This is Troy Weaver in action.
Again. Gerald, this is you're trading your 2026 first round pick unprotected. You don't know what's going on with Zion Williamson. Gerald, this is literally jumping out of a plane without a parachute. This is the definition.
Yep. And Zion, with what's going on with his legal troubles, you're probably, if you tried to move him now, you're going to get pennies on the dollar. It's a mess right now in New Orleans. And getting Troy Weaver, who was literally booted out. How do these guys keep finding jobs, Magic Man?
I don't understand, Gerald. I don't understand.
God, you just got yourself booted out of Detroit, and this is what happens now. So very, very interesting indeed.
Why do you get a job and Monty Williams doesn't? You put that team together for Monty Williams.
Yep. I know earlier was said that Nick Richards might be available now. Yeah, but he had his chance to be the man as far as the starting center in Phoenix, and he was given every opportunity to succeed there and just couldn't get it done, even on a bad Phoenix team. He's a really good backup, but that's what he is a really good backup. So if the Lakers trade for him, it should not be with the design of having him as their starter. Juan said, how does Pelinka have a job? Let's talk about that. Oh, yeah, Juan, we dedicated a lot.
Because Kobe Bryant was his best friend. That's why he got a job.
Yes, but he still has a job because Jeannie is still the governor of the team at this point going forward. And Joe, again, you don't seem as concerned about Rob Pelinka now about what he did or did not do leading up into this draft around the first round. You are still thinking that he is not going to be long for this team, no matter what he does this summer.
Yeah, I don't. He's done his best acquisition was this February, and it was an all-timer. But I don't know necessarily if he's capable of sustaining year in and year out a roster that's going to compete year in and year out. I think there's too much deficiencies in that part of the business, the player personnel side. If he wants to be a general manager of the Lakers and handle the operational stuff, then at that point I'd be like, yeah, sure, have him do that. But as far as a a Presti, a Conley, someone, a Bob Myers type, even though Bob Myers still has a lot to prove. I think he was able to manage the talent that he had in Golden State, but he didn't necessarily develop that. He didn't draft the main three, right? There's only gonna be two or three of those guys, though. Those guys that are perennials. Conley has built two really good teams, one in Denver, one in Minnesota. Presti's built two. What the first one should have been a dynasty, but he's trying to build one here, and he's already been validated by one title so far. And I see Mark Walter and his group say, what's it going to take to go get Presti? Presti's making $4.5 million a year. Presti might not be enamored with money. He might be comfortable in Oklahoma City. He might say, no, I'm not leaving here. This is where I belong, much like R.C. Buford in San Antonio. But I'm thinking the way they think, just like how they acquired Andrew Friedman from when he was in Tampa. Andrew Friedman is one of the best, if not the best, player personnel guys in baseball. I think they're going to want the best in the NBA. And right now, there's no doubt it's Presti. He's got the one spot. So do they kind of do what they can do here the next year or two and then finally go, all right, we're going to go talk to Presti and say, hey, would you come here on a 5-year deal at 10 mil and build our team? That's kind of what I'm waiting on. And Masai Ujiri is if it wasn't for, I've said this a few times on the show, if it wasn't for Popovich wanting to send, if there was a team in Saskatchewan or Alaska or Antarctica, Pop would have sent Kawhi there. Toronto was the furthest place he could throw Kawhi. And that's what defined Masai's time in that 9 months. If Popovich didn't want to do that, we wouldn't even know what the hell Masai was. You'd think it was a massage. Never been a big fan of his. He's overrated in my book. I don't even put him in the category with any of the good GMs. He's got a temperamental problem. He's not the
GM of the Raptors anymore, Joe.
Yeah, but he's still there, and he's still
there. He's not making these calls, though. I guarantee you that.
Okay, if he's not, then somebody smartened up in the ownership there, which makes sense, which validates what I'm saying even more.
Yes, it does.
Danny Ainge lived off that 08 title. I mean, he lived off that 08 title when his buddies sent him KG. They almost have the same kind of path, right? For me, knowing the history of this particular new ownership, I have a pretty good feeling that they're going to go after the best, whether it's Presti in a few years, whether it's Bob Myers, whether it's Conley out of Minnesota, one way or the other, or if it's somebody that we don't even know about, or it's a protege of one of those guys that they think can go to the next level. I have no worry that they're going to find that guy, and it will be the main guy. Rob may choose to stay as a foot soldier. I think he won't. I think he'll go do something else, but that's my theory. Once you get that guy, then I'm going to be waiting on to see. Usually player personnel guys / general manager guys are going to want their own coach. And that's something that also Laker fans need to get ready for, unless JJ takes a huge leap in the next year or so.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It's our post NBA first round draft show. Thank you again for joining us. Please like and subscribe. Sean, Alfred Esmond, our good friend who appears on the show from time to time. He is here in the chat. He's talking about Jace Richardson, who went to Orlando. He said, guys, what do you all think? He's a 6-footer. I mean, that's what he measured out to be. So there's a concern there, Alfred.
Yeah.
But offensively, he is gifted. And you have to have, as we've talked about before, when you've been on the show, Alfred, you have to have offensive tools on that team because they are so offensively deficient on that team. And getting in Desmond Bane and hopefully a guy named Jace Richardson. I think that also obviously sends a message to guys like Jet Howard and also Anthony Black that they need to be a little bit more consistent with their games, especially Jet Howard. Jet Howard may be jetting out of there at some point in time in the near future, if that's the case. But Magic Man, what are your thoughts on Jace Richardson, who went to the Magic?
Yeah, so you're not your dad, right? Jay Rich was 6'5", had that smooth jumper, ran a lot in transition. Could
Extremely
get
athletic, slam dunk champion.
could get points a myriad of ways. He was a bucket getter, literally. I don't see that in Jace, Joe, but I think his rookie year is like clipboard. Like I would have him watch a lot of the NBA rather than play right away. I mean, some guys you could throw away in there with live bullets, and it's a better evaluation period. I'm with you. I think he needs a little bit of seasoning, Gerald, especially like you said, considering Orlando invested a first-round pick in Anthony Black, who they thought would be their point guard of the future, at Gerald
Howard.
And Jet Howard was a big investment in the first round. So I think it's a wait and see with him. But like you said, Gerald, he's not that big. He's not that tall. How is he going to generate the ability to create separation being that small? And quite frankly, he's not a huge speedster, Gerald. He's not a speed demon. So he's going to have to use what athleticism he has with that size and try and be able to get buckets in the league. I'm not convinced yet.
We'll have to see again if he shoots around 40%, that could change things. So, and Alfred, you are right. They do have a lot of size and length to overcome any issues like that, as far as any hindrances that might be there because of his size, or if he gets picked on the defensive end. So that alleviates some of that concern about his size. Joe, an interesting question was put by Lakers Nation. So before we head on out, I wanted to go ahead and make sure we touched on it. If you were given the choice, Luka or Shea, which way would you go? Joe, you there?
I'm listening. I'm thinking.
Okay.
Well, Shea's taking the lead right now. He's won a league MVP. He's won a finals MVP and a title. The question we want to ask is, let's say, which player would you want to build a team around? Maybe that's the correct question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go Luka.
Okay. Would you do the same, Sean, or take your fellow Canadian?
I'm not gonna vacillate or change my mind, Joe. I said Luka. I'll stick with Luka.
I'll stick with Luka as well. I think overall he has certain elements that I think.
If Luka,
but then again, you have a master builder like Sam Presti. That's who would I take as far as a GM, Sean? I think right now it's Sam Presti, hands down.
Oh yeah, Sam Presti can kick Rob Pelinka's ass outside the door.
Yes, that's not even close, and I'll leave that.
No, literally, I would put that in his contract. If you want to kick his ass out of the chair, you can.
I have a question. If the Clippers didn't clip does OKC win the championship this year?
But Joe, like, I think the big twist in that conversation is that Kawhi wanted Paul George. Now, everyone has to ask Kawhi Leonard, and he'll never answer it because he's, oatmeal for brains. Why did you want Paul George? Shaq did not explicitly tell Jerry West not to draft Kobe Bryant, Gerald. He didn't say that.
Mhm.
And if you look back, Akeem didn't have a problem with the Rockets acquiring Clyde Drexler. Now, why was Kawhi so insistent upon Paul George without even knowing who SGA is? Like, this is why you play basketball, but you don't build basketball teams.
Incorrect,
And
legend.
the sad thing about that is Doc Rivers was very adamant with Ballmer that he said, "Hey, you might be making a mistake here because this guy is going to be really good." But the problem was Ballmer needed the
Star power. He
needed the movie star.
You need the marquee. Yep.
Because if Kawhi doesn't go to the Clippers, he's a Laker.
Mm-hmm.
And if Kawhi goes to the Lakers, they could three-peat. And I say this because the wear and tear on everyone's body would have lessened.
Mm-hmm.
Kawhi wouldn't have had to have worked as hard. AD wouldn't have had to have worked as hard.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that AD probably doesn't get hurt in 2021 with Kawhi there. 2022, you don't trade for Westbrook. History changes in so many ways. You have one of the probably greatest trios you ever seen in NBA history, if that's the case, right? But that's the question that I was thinking about last few days is if the Clippers didn't clip, does OKC win a championship? Because and the reason why I asked that question is, guys, no matter how good Presti is, sometimes you need some luck. And since you brought up Kobe Bryant and Shaq, even the great Jerry West needed a little luck in '96 to get Kobe. He needed a little bit of luck. And that luck was
he could sell shit to a farmer, and he sold
John Calipari.
He sold John Calipari on Kerry Kittles.
John Calipari, and this is my view on this. I might be wrong.
Take Kerry Kittles.
I believe John Calipari wanted Kobe Bryant because he knew Calipari knows talent, knows young talent. He was talked out of it by ownership. If Kobe is drafted by the Nets, there was a what if on NBA TV about this, one of the best shows I've ever watched. The Nets would still be in New Jersey, and we'd be talking about how Kobe Bryant trumped Dr. J in the Nets franchise. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, when Dr. J was in the ABA, he played for the New York Nets before they became the New Jersey Nets. Kobe Bryant would have been a god in New Jersey. He would have been bigger than the Sopranos.
That's huge. That's
a hell of a
shame, man.
That's a hell of a thing to think about. Again, the fact that they did a show on this was so amazing. The show was so great. I was like, my God, they got to do more of this stuff. What if Shaq had stayed in Orlando? What if Magic had not gotten HIV? Does Hakeem come to LA? Does that Barkley trade come through? Now what happens with the Michael Jordan era if Hakeem goes to LA in 92? What happens if Arvydas Sabonis doesn't wait 10 years to get to Portland? You put him there instead of Kevin Duckworth in the 92 finals against MJ. In his prime.
You guys got to remember, even Presti, even the best makes mistakes. Presti, he gave up 3 picks to New York Knicks, as I just noted in the comments, for Ousmane Dieng, who did Zippo for
Mhm.
them in this title run. But
Mhm.
he picked up, who did he draft right after?
was
Dieng?
it was it Aaron Wiggins?
Wait,
I
who are you
think it was
talking about?
No, it's Jalen Williams.
Oh, excuse me. Williams
Yeah, 'cause
was
remember they had two
well.
picks in the
Williams was the Clippers pick, right? They
no.
got
Well,
SGA. Yeah, they
yeah, but
got
but
SGA.
they had two picks in the teens, and then
But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Jalen Williams is the pick from the Clippers.
yeah, but I'm just saying they had two picks in the teens. One of them was because they traded
So they
3
had
of
to
their
live
own
with
picks
the see
to New York
Gerald.
Knicks.
So 50%, like that's
Yeah,
Presti right there. 50% on drafts.
50%.
Yeah, that's
And we talked
and
about how
Gerald said
two
if
of
he
those
can
guys
hit
hit
2
for
out of
Brooklyn
5,
tonight. Yeah,
Hey
and if
guys,
two of those guys.
I want to clear this up. Sorry, Joe, I didn't mean to interrupt. Don't listen to that idiot, Legend of Experiment. He's doing things again I can't
I
type
never heard you and Gerald say that. I
because
never
we didn't.
once. Yeah, you didn't say it.
He's pressing it. Don't listen to him. He's an idiot. He's a moron. He's about to get bounced. I can't respond because I'm not at my computer. I'm mobile still.
Gerald and Joe did
We
not
never said Luka was
once.
better than Jokic. Okay,
Never,
asshole. I said
never.
Luka is on his way to getting multiple MVPs.
Gerald has never said that.
Okay. If you say one more comment, that's bullshit. That's it. You're gone.
You can't keep doing this, bro. I've been here the whole time. Both Gerald and Joe
I
did
know
not
this.
say that.
I know who this cocksucker. I know who he is. I know who he is. I know he's somebody who knows me. So that's the only reason why I haven't bounced him. Before. So
But I'm just saying that even a guy like Presti has made a mistake. But
is this a blood rule? Is this blood, Joe?
No.
Okay, all right.
Because if it was blood, then he'd be seeing blood when I went to his house.
So I'll just say this again: if Brooklyn hits on 2 of those 5 players they drafted tonight, I think it's a good draft for them. But we'll have to.
All right. Would you bet money on that, Gerald? Do you think they would
No, I
hit
wouldn't
on
bet
2 out
money on
of
that,
5?
because remember, I thought Poku was going to be a good player coming out, drafted by OKC. I liked what I saw. I watched several hours of game footage with him. I really thought he had skills, but it never materialized. So Ousmane Dieng, a lot of people liked him. Presti traded 3 picks to New York to get him, and the guy he picked right after was better, ultimately infinitely better than Ousmane Dieng. So it's a crapshoot at times, and you have to go ahead and say, you know what, you can do as much player evaluation as you want, but ultimately it's up to the player themselves to want to make them better. But yeah, again, it is of course a Lakers fast break. Sean or Joe, any last thoughts for we heading out?
Yeah, Gerald. I just wanted to say, as much as I thought Utah took a big swing and a miss tonight, to me, that the team that has completely set themselves on fire is the New Orleans Pelicans. Drafting 2 very good players, however, they're mismatches when it comes to trying to find assets that you could put around Zion Williamson. And you've just traded away your 2026 first round pick that's unprotected. That is the biggest golden goose in the NBA right now, Gerald. More so than the Phoenix picks.
I can tell you right now, Stone, at @report_court. That is at @report_court on Twitter. He has tweeted or retweeted over 100 tweets today from himself, or also as well, he's promoting other NBA draft interests, people out there that made their own boards or cover the draft. So if you're interested in the NBA draft, please go ahead and support him today.
Gerald, what would you say Stone's biggest takeaways from tonight are, if he hasn't already posted them?
I think he might have taken his big board and just like crumpled it up and just like thrown it out the window, because these guys, when his 65, was it 64, 65, and 66 players are drafted in the first round. That tells you that he is varying wildly from what these GMs are saying, and one of them is going to be right. It's not going to be either or. It's going to be he is right on Yang Hansen. Who else was it? McNeely, and also as well, there's one more that he had a issue on was Nolan Traore.
Traore.
Yeah, 64, 65, and 66 on his board. So if none of those guys hit, he looks like a genius. If it doesn't, you know what? Again, you're evaluating all these players and trying to make a determination, but ultimately it is up to the player to make themselves a player in the NBA. It's ultimately, do they want it? Do they want to work hard enough to get to that next level and play at that next level? No, YYC. Claxton just has to shoot free throws, and that'll convince you. Not why he hasn't convinced me. Again, ultimately, he's going to be traded because they're in a rebuilding situation in Brooklyn. So I would not be surprised if the Lakers get him or Ayton, YYC, but that doesn't mean you're going to like his missing free throws any less. But Joe, also great to have you and Sean here. Tomorrow, we will be on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break again for the second round. And then after, we will be on tomorrow night for the NBA draft tomorrow night at some point in time after the draft. Joe, any last thoughts before we head on out?
Sir, a particular pattern that I noticed today in the draft, other than 2 slots, every single pick from 10 to 30 was acquired either in some trade or switch.
Good point.
The only ones that weren't were the 12th pick by the Bulls and the pick at 28 for the Celtics when they got Hugo Gonzalez. So every pick from 10 to 30 was somehow acquired, traded, given, switched, whatever. And
yeah,
go ahead.
I was going to say, I still like my package to know to the people out there real quick.
Hold
to New
on,
Orleans.
real time.
Go ahead.
What do you mean I don't have any power here? Who the fuck are you? What do you mean you don't have enough power here? Bitch, you have no idea how much power I have.
Yes.
Say that to my face.
Exactly.
Don't be some bitch be on a computer.
Joe is
Real time, my ass.
close to 300 pounds. So exactly.
Yeah.
And don't troll him.
The worst nightmare, buddy.
Listen,
he eats trolls for lunch. That's all I'll say.
So there is. I noticed that the back half of the first, especially the really, really back half, there were a lot of stretches, and I think that's probably what pissed off. I think that's what pissed off Stone. And I hate to say this, but because the mom and the dad and the brothers and the whole siblings, everything was just, everybody was crying and they were happy. And I'm not trying to, rain on the parade, but Danny Wolf is not a first round pick. He should have gone in the early second, probably even mid. And there were a lot of players like that. Chase Richardson is a player that he's going to need some major time. When a player isn't athletic or aggressively athletic, can't really shoot and is small, that means that player has to develop so many intangibles, meaning he's got to understand how spacing works. He's got to understand angles. He's got to be able to study the defense, study the players that are likely going to guard him. And he's got to use his head to get space, to get distance, and unfortunately, the other part is his release isn't good either. Like, Jesus Christ. He's got a lot of work.
Yeah.
So I don't want to put that much pressure. Yeah, I don't want to. I think that was a legacy pick. I sometimes that happens in the NBA. We had the biggest one last year with our own team. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
I don't know how, and there were a lot of picks like that in the late first. I think the best pick, honestly, in the late first was Hugo Gonzalez to Boston. I think he can develop in Boston because I think they know how to develop players out there.
Yeah, you talked about that on playback. And that
Yeah,
you thought that was a
he's
pretty
got
good
a
pick.
little bit of again. I wish I had more time to spend. I would never be able to do what Stone does because that I can't watch 13 hours of CBA ball in China and all this. That I would kill myself. But I college basketball in America. I obviously could put a lot. I wish I could put a lot of energy and time in that because I enjoy it. But the little that I do know, I think Hugo Gonzalez is a kind of player that I think his comp was like Kuminga. I think that's what they said his comp was, and I was like,
Jonathan Kuminga.
Yeah, Kuminga. Sorry, Kuminga. And I'm like, yeah, that would be like the central casting for a team like Boston with the players they have there and the development that they have there. They could turn him into something really, really good. So other than that, there'll be some guys that'll surprise us and some that will probably live up to exactly what we think they'll be. And then the ones that will be busts will be there. Those who don't know, every draft, no matter what it is, you're going to get probably in the NBA at least 60% of the first round are going to be, I shouldn't say bust, 60% of the first round picks, no matter what draft it is, at the very least, is not going to make it. They're not going to really be impactful. So I don't see this being any different here.
And 80% of these draft picks end up not staying with their original team.
Right.
Trojan fight. We talked about it before. The Mark Williams trade. I mean, obviously that Charlotte got less than what the Lakers gave up essentially for that trade. But
That's what I think of Phoenix right now and their moves.
the thing is, though, I don't get it. I don't really get the move.
Hey, real time. Hey, real time. If you don't give a shit, why are you here? You're the one that gives a shit. I don't give a shit. If you go and die after the show, I don't give a shit. Okay? So don't sit here and start getting all psychology with us, talking about, I don't know him. I don't want to know you. You want to come here and talk shit? Talk shit. But don't get mad when someone slaps it back to you. All right? Now, if you want to really talk shit, be a man, grow some nuts. Hey, my address is on Google. We promote my business every day here. You really want to tell me to my face? Bring it.
It is Sinblades. Sinblades with the Y.com, based out of the Temecula area.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. You can find it right there. Sinblades with the Y.com.
Just to let you know, I'm a very well-prepared person. I'm very prepared. So don't sit there and talk all tough online. Okay? I'm not going to be crying in the corner. That's not how it works. Yeah, go report my channel. Yeah, go report it. Go report it. Take time.
Yeah, exactly. Then we will go ahead and make sure we do that for you because we have this all on record. Remember, they also uploads the chat, so they will see at Google and YouTube exactly everything that you're typing out to us and how you antagonized us and threatened us, and were very unwelcoming to us as well. So
trolling don't work here, fellas and gents and ladies. It don't work here. I love the heat. Love
and
it.
And what you guys don't understand that come in here just to troll for just a little bit. The thing is, the other people in this chat or the other people that loves to listen on our podcast,
they love it too.
They love it too. They love it when you guys come on and get roasted for dinner. So go report it to Google. We'll report you
like that kind of talk.
Absolutely. So, because the thing is, if Google were to come back to me on that, they're going to ask me why that happened. I'll just say, look, the evidence is right here. It's all right there. And you can't do anything about it. But I'm just going to say this before we leave again. The Mark Williams trade, I don't know why they did it in Phoenix, because they essentially drafted the same player within 90 seconds of announcing the trade. So it absolutely, you make a great draft in Malak, and then you essentially get the same player at Mark Williams when you have already an ex-Charlotte center on your team already. It makes
Nick Richards.
It's this Charlotte West in Phoenix now. Plus, oh, by the way, do you want a shooting guard? They seem to have 10 of them now on Phoenix. So good luck on that one. It's like Portland with centers. They have like 7 centers on their team now. Just absolutely just don't understand some of the processes here by Portland, by Phoenix, by New Orleans. Just absolutely does not make sense. I'm hoping that they'll make a trade now with the Lakers. I'll take Missy. I'll take Alvarado. I'll take as far as Herb Jones. I'll take them in a package. I'll take those guys in the package to the Lakers. Yeah, absolutely, all day long. Yeah, I'll do that. If you're going to make dumb moves, go ahead and make another dumb move and send those guys to the Lakers. And I'll just leave it at that. But tomorrow, Sean and I and Joe and I will be back right here after the draft tomorrow night, and then we'll go ahead and let you know our thoughts on who the Lakers got at 55. Again, we'll just go ahead.
Gerald, do you expect Rob Pelinka to make the pick?
Well, ultimately, he's the one that makes the call on it.
No. Do you expect him to go up there and make the pick?
Oh no, but he calls. He calls from the office. He calls from Marina Del Rey.
Do you expect him to be in the office, Gerald?
Oh yeah, I expect him to be in the office because then they got to look good for the press. They got to look
Oh.
good for the press, and afterwards, because after they make the pick, they go downstairs to the press room, and
Because
then they talk about the pick.
in the past, he's had one of Joey or Jesse do it rather
But
than
remember last year he did it because with Dalton Connect because they were talking about drawing up the plays and blah 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 after the fact. So I think he'll be there to do it. I think he'll be there to do it. Just better not be someone from Michigan State, and I'll just leave it at that, or Michigan.
You mean the Big Ten?
Unless it's Golden. Vladislav Golden, if he's the only 7-footer left, what are you going to do?
Man, guys, just the fact that you're bringing all this up, it just makes me go, oh. There's going to be a moment where we don't have to deal with this anymore.
Exactly. Intel, thank you so much as well. $5 from Intel Wild. YouTube is definitely erasing chats. Good luck, brothers. Again, this one uploaded just like a lot of our previous ones have uploaded on each and every time out. So I can always send them a clip, Intel. It's no big deal. No big deal at all. I think that they're going to go ahead and get Golden. I think that'll be the only 7-footer left on the board. Otherwise, look for Eric Dixon, a really high-scoring power forward, 6'8", 260. He can really score the basketball, but I wish he rebounded better for a guy that size. Those are two. I think that'll be available at that time because I think Amari Williams, Zakarski, Sean. I think those guys will be gone before 55.
Yeah, I think you're right, Gerald. I think maybe we'll get lucky and Golden will be there, but that's about it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be slim pickings for the Lakers. They might even draft Bronny again, Joe.
Oh, God.
Just saying. At least Bryce is not available yet. What'd you say?
Why would they do that?
I was joking, Joe. I was just joking. So, but Bryce may be next year's 2nd-round pick.
Why would this show get banned? Because I yelled at a couple of bitches?
Been doing that for years.
We've been doing that for what? 4 years now.
Yeah.
I eat punks for breakfast, lunch, and brunch.
Oh, her face. He's already gotten me banned on TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok's garbage anyways. Who gives a
he
shit?
got me banned on TikTok. It's actually for one of the shorts now available only for our members. And it has been available for years now, for over a year now on YouTube. He got that same video got me banned on TikTok.
When was I a racist?
Yeah, he's just talking to you.
Who's her face look hella squished? Your brain is squished.
Joe is not white. I know you think because he looks white, he's white. Joe is not white.
Well, again, go to his channel or ours. Normally, he'll be on the air. He usually has his face on. But if you don't, go over to the Joe Soro experiment, which is on the Joe Soro channel on YouTube, and you can see his.
I'm technically 5'4" barefoot.
Okay.
Yeah. No one 5'4" sounds like that, but yeah.
No, I have seen Joe in person. He is not 5'4". He is a lot taller than that. No, Legend. I am not. I do not, under any circumstances, want to be that individual. But you're trying hard. You're trying hard and failing while doing so, Legend. So it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break.
You're
Truly
failing,
appreciate you joining
Legend.
us.
What is it about you and failure?
Yes, I don't know.
Well,
But,
who's this other schmuck? This squished guy acting like he's some kind of chaperone all of a sudden.
Yeah.
What are you, our mother or father? Like, what, you got a problem with what we're doing? This is the first time I've seen you.
Now, again, it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. Of course, we get a lot of fans. We get a lot of Lakers followers. And then we get the Drek that shows up as well. But
it's okay. They get a little bit of attention. They don't get the attention at home. We give it to them.
As long as they watch the ads.
We're here to help, man. We're here to help.
Yes, if the trolls watch the ads, even if they hit the skip, it helps me out. That's all I care about.
Good.
All right. It is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. We'll see you tomorrow on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. And then, of course, also as well, afterwards, tomorrow night, we'll go ahead and pop back on for more abuse from you guys and for more good thoughts, good questions from the other good people in the chat, and then the trolls as well, as only we can do right here at the Lakers Fast Break podcast.
Bring something better than what you had tonight, Legend. You have Rice Krispie nuts.